Recently, the folks at Smart came out with an app for the iPad that allows sharing notebooks between the iPad and the PC. Teachers can create notebooks on the PC and then share them with students. Students can then modify the notebooks, or they can create their own from scratch. Let's take a look at how you can get notebooks from the PC to the iPad and why you may want to do so. Then we're going to look in the other direction, creating notebooks on the iPad and then sending them to the PC to display on a projector or to be used on a PC. First of all, let's take a look at why we would want to create a notebook on the PC as opposed to creating a notebook directly on the iPad. The main reason I believe that the Smart Notebook on the PC is far superior is the number of tools that you have available. As a mathematician, I have all kinds of mathematical tools, things such as creating polygons. I have mathematical equation editors. I can treat those as objects, resize them. I have tables that I can work with. And of course, in the gallery, which you don't have on the iPad, there are a whole series of various things you can import, both pictures as well as interactive objects. So for example, I'm interested in graphing, and here I have some little graph paper, that I can work with. If you look at the toolbar down here, you can see there's a wealth of tools as well. I have lines, various types of lines, including those with endpoints. I have geometric figures. I have text objects, and I have all sorts of math tools, that I can work with. Anyway, let's assume that I've created the notebook that I want using the PC software, and now I want to get it onto the iPad. What I'm going to do is simply save it, and I'm going to save it to a specific location. In particular, I'm going to save it to my Dropbox because of the fact that the iPad works very nicely with Dropbox. I'm going to call this Test 2. And what we're going to do now is switch over to the iPad. I'm going to shut this down and then restart again once I get over to the iPad. Okay, I'm on the iPad now, and as you recall, we created a Smart Notebook and put it into Dropbox. So now I'm on the iPad. I'm going to go over to my Dropbox app, and I'm going to go look for that file that I just created. If you recall, I called it test2.notebook, and my little preview window says it's unable to view the file. However, I can open it by clicking in the upper right hand corner where it says Open in Notebook. This will bring up my Smart Notebook app, and it will then open the file I just created. And as you can see, right here I have my mathematical equation. Right here I have my graph. I have a table over here, and I have my object. I have my object right here, which again I can rotate or work with. One of the things that I mentioned earlier was the fact that I thought it was very helpful to create things initially on the PC. And the reason is because there really aren't a whole lot of tools on the toolbar. If you compare this with the tools that you just saw when we were on the PC, basically what I've got is I've got a pen. If I hold it, I can change the thickness of the pen. I could change the color of the pen, and work with that. I've got a highlighter. Again, I've got two colors on the highlighter. I have an eraser. so I can erase lines. I have a little text tool. By clicking in that text box, it brings up my keyboard, my virtual keyboard. And when I hit return, oops, that didn't work. Let's try it again. A, B, C, D, E, well, R. We'll go with that. And so right here I have an object that I just created. There's a line tool. The line tool, however, does not have endpoints on it. The only thing you can control is the color and the thickness. So again, I think the tool that is on the PC is far superior to this one. However, depending upon what I'm using it for, in particular if I'm using this with kids and having them create presentations, these may be the only tools that you actually need, and having as many tools as are on the PC version might actually be intimidating to especially the younger kids. Now let's assume I've made some changes to this, and now what I'd like to do is I'd like to be able to project this on the projector in the classroom. Essentially what I need to do is I need to first of all run a tool such as Air Server, or I need to run a tool such as Reflection on my PC. Once I've done that, if I go to the taskbar on the iPad, there is the AirPlay icon, and what I would do is I would then choose the laptop, specifying that I wanted mirroring to be on, and I would then do everything I would need to do in order to explain using the Smart Notebook, and everything I did would then be mirrored on the projector. I also have the option of taking that Smart Notebook and emailing it. I do not have the capability of putting it into Dropbox. In order to get it onto the PC, I would actually have to email it. That's a limitation on the iPad, which kind of hides its file system. And so that's the description of getting things from the PC over to the iPad and working with the Smart Notebook, as well as going the opposite way, taking a Smart Notebook that you've created on the iPad and now want to either display it or put it back on the PC.